Hi, I'm Dr. Ben Newman. I study coronaviruses, and my office is a mess. Yeah. I'm going to try to answer your questions. Next question is from Donna. And okay, Donna's question relates to the second dose of the vaccine. Yes, which in an earlier video today, I gave the wrong number. So we will correct that right now. Yeah. My COVID thinking addled brain. I don't have COVID. I just been swimming around in it for too long. Yeah, just spit out the wrong value. I just checked again. Okay, so each vaccine is different. And does it make a difference when we need to get the second dose, which one we get? Yeah, okay. Will the second dose of Pfizer work better than the first dose of Pfizer, or does it matter? Thank you. Yeah. Nobody knows. Hasn't been tested. They are looking at combining different vaccines in the UK right now. They were talking about combining two different nucleic acid vaccines, which I would say the smart thing to do would be to combine vaccines of different types, because they will deliver and present little parts of the virus on different cells. So it's like you're just activating the immune system in different ways in different areas, and there's a chance that if it missed the first one, the second one gets your immune system's attention. Yeah, I like that. In terms of the actual two doses, you need the two doses because that's the protocol that was approved. And so earlier today, I think I was thinking of I don't even know what, and I said that the second dose raised the amount of antibodies by 1,000-fold. It does not. It raises the amount of antibodies by about 10-fold or a little more, 10, 20-fold. So it's a 10x boost. Yeah, having the second dose there. The first dose probably does everything that you need it to do, because we see that people become protected to very nearly the full extent about 2 weeks after the first dose, which is 1 week before the second dose. The second dose is going to give you longer lasting immunity and just more chance that the right component of the immune system is going to run into that virus before the virus can do anything bad to you. So that's it. You're just you're planting 10 more guards for every one that you had around the castle parapets. And yeah. Now, as for combining different vaccines, I would think that the Moderna and Pfizer are essentially the same. The big difference that I know of is that the Pfizer vaccine, I believe, is being given as 30 micrograms of RNA, which is a lot for people who work in RNA and really not that much for anybody else. Yeah, 30 micrograms is tiny. Yeah. And the Pfizer vaccine, Moderna vaccine, if I remember correctly, is a 200 microgram dose. I think that is what they settled on. I've got to read. I'm waiting for the paper to come out on that one, the final phase 3. But yeah, so they're pretty much the same thing, but you get a lot more of it with the Moderna. And the Moderna does seem to produce higher amounts of antibodies, although every single company seems to have done their tests in such a way that they are not directly able to be compared to any of the other tests by any of the other companies. So I'm doing my best here. It looks as though the Moderna vaccine is at least 10 times hotter, if you like, than some of the other ones. Certainly higher antibody levels than with some of the adenovirus vaccines, although they seem to produce more than enough to get you where you need to be. Yeah. Why not, since just as a bonus? So how much antibody is enough antibody, since we're taking multiple doses to try and get to that level? Well, one, we don't know, but two, we can estimate it from the results that we have. So from the phase 2 data from Pfizer, we know how much antibody people had at 21 days, and we know that they got their booster at 28 days. And we know that people seem to be protected after about 14 days of getting that first injection. So we've got a little window there. The amount of antibody should be less than or equal to the amount that people have at 21 days. Yeah, which makes sense, I think. And so what is that amount? It's a neutralizing titer of about 30. Yeah, which isn't going to mean a darn thing to most people, but it's a particular kind of test, and this is a particular result on there. And it is not a high result. It seems as though you would get, yeah, normally you're up in the hundreds after a bout of COVID or after one of the stronger vaccines. So yeah, 30 is a very attainable number, and probably the actual number is lower than that. We just don't know how much lower because we do not have that data yet. And someday they're going to show all this data, or maybe do all the tests to show the data. I think they're doing exactly what needs to be done to get this out the quickest, rather than doing everything that the thinking scientist might, in his wildest dreams, want to know about. And I can give them a pass in this case, I guess. Yeah, they're actually doing a really good thing and trying to do it in as time sensitive a manner, but still safe as possible. So, yeah, they're focusing on the mission and not even looking a little bit left or right at the moment. So there we go. But yeah, that looks like where we are, and so it doesn't take all that much of an antibody response at all, we think, based on the data that we have, to actually get you some pretty strong degree of protection against COVID. Yeah, so eventually we need to get the results from people who have actually been protected from COVID and see how much they had compared to people who were not protected. There are some studies out there that are kind of like that. There was a big one from the UK looking at nurses with and without antibodies before they caught COVID, and the ones who had antibodies before had a much lower rate of catching COVID again. So, yeah. It all does seem to line up mostly, but there are great big error bars on everything, and the error bars are the uncertainty of everybody's genome being a little bit different, and every cell in the immune system kind of being an independent contractor that has to figure things out on its own, and none of them being particularly smart or adept at it, in my opinion. Yeah. But they do their best, and it keeps us alive, and I'll take it. Yeah, for sure. So thanks very much. This has been Ask Dr. Ben.